بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
The scholars, however, said the last meaning is that which has been focused upon the most of this statement. Understand your nafs, you will understand your Lord. And that was, understand your soul and purify it. For if you do tazkiyah of your nafs, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will place His ma'rifah in your heart. This was the most famous interpretation of this hadith. Man arafa nafsa, I understand and look at the vices and impurities that your nafs has. Look at the sins that you commit. Look at the carnal desires that your nafs holds that it shouldn't. Gain ma'rifah, i.e. remove them from your heart, then you will be able to gain ma'rifah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For those that did tazkiyatul nafs, those that purified their soul, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them that ma'rifah. And this was the greatest way to gain ma'rifah. To understand what are my carnal desires. A person may say, how? How can I see whether my nafs rushes towards haram or not? How can I see whether I'm able to control my carnal desires or not? One way to do so, I'll mention two. One way to do so is the scholars see if you are able to control your tongue. When I speak, for example, and I'm in conversation with someone and something pops into my mind, and I'm about to do ghibah of someone else, am I able to control my tongue, or do I do the ghibah? When I'm angry and I shouldn't say something, but something comes out of my mouth which is inappropriate, am I able to hold it or not? If a person wishes to see whether they are able to control their carnal desires and their nafs, see whether you can control your tongue. Secondly, to ensure that you have done tazkiyah or you start to do tazkiyah of your own soul, always look at your niyyah and intention. That when you came to the masjid, when you came to the majlis of Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam, ask yourself the question, why? Before you enter in, why am I coming here? Before I pray salah, think about it. Why am I doing this? Before I volunteer in the Husayniyah, think about why I'm doing it. If you think about your niyyah every time you perform an action, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will allow you to purify your niyyah and purify your nafs. And let me give you one example. Shaykh Abbas Qummi, rahmatullah alayhi, is one of those scholars who was known for his sincerity. And Shaykh Abbas Qummi, you all know because you have read and seen Mafatihul Jinan, his most famous work on supplication. Shaykh Abbas Qummi at one point in time lived in Mashhad. And whilst living in Mashhad, he was invited during Shahr Ramadan to lead the prayers in the masjid known as Masjid Gawhar Shad, which is part of the shrine of Imam Ali ibn Musa al-Ridha, salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi. The Salatul Dhuhrain, he was invited to lead Salatul Dhuhrain in the Masjid Gawhar Shad, a well-known masjid in the shrine. He began leading the prayers of Dhuhrain, Shahr Ramadan. And we're told that because people heard that Shaykh Abbas is the one that is leading the prayers, Shaykh Abbas Qummi, who is well known for his purity, that many people started attending that Salatul Jama'ah. A number of people would pray behind him. A number of people would follow him in Salah. Until after not even 10 days had passed of the 30 days of Shahr Ramadan, that Shaykh Abbas Qummi says, I can't attend the prayers anymore, I can't lead the prayers, please find someone else. So no one questioned him and asked him why. They respected his decision and they found someone else to lead the prayers, until someone afterwards met Shaykh Abbas in someone's house, Shaykh Abbas al-Qummi, and they asked him, what's the reason that suddenly you stopped leading the prayers? He says, because on one occasion I had entered to lead al-Dhuhrain and I was leading the Salatul Dhuhr and I was in the fourth rak'ah. And as I was in the fourth rak'ah, I was in ruku'. And a person had come and he was obviously delayed to the prayers. And what would he do normally when he comes late? He calls out, Ya Allah. So that I delay lifting my head up from ruku' so that he can join in my ruku'. If he doesn't join in the ruku', he has to wait until the next rak'ah, but this is the fourth. So he says, Ya Allah, so I could delay the ruku' so that he can join in the jama'ah. However, when I heard his Ya Allah, I heard his voice to be very far away. What did this tell me? This told me that this person has just come, but there are so many people that have attended this jama'ah that he's right at the back of this masjid. And so for a split second, something entered into my heart. that mashallah, how many people are praying behind Sheikh Abbas Qummi? He said, this small amount of happiness entered into my heart. That look how many people came to pray behind me. As soon as that small amount entered into my heart, he said, I stopped. I finished Dhuhr. If it was someone who was very religious, they would finish Salatul Asr, then they would leave. Someone else who doesn't care, he would wait and he would love it and he would pray the Salatul Jama'ah to the rest of his life. If it was someone religious, they pray Asr, then they leave. Sheikh Abbas Qummi says, I didn't even pray Asr. As soon as this entered into my heart, I stopped it right there. Why? Tazkiyatun nafs. I want my nafs to be pure. I want to do only for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so there and then I told someone behind me, I can't lead the Asr prayers. Someone else should come, and straight away I left the masjid. And from that day I haven't returned to the salah, for I realized I'm not worthy of leading the mu'mineen and Muslimeen in prayer. Tazkiyatun nafs is this, where I think about my intention. That which I do solely for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I try to control my carnal desires. From this I get ma'rifah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad.